Mage in the house with the sick flow. Listening to Evil Dojo. Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. Listening to Evil Dojo. Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. Spawn, gun, blood, body is the ground. Frag, knife, lorry, no mercy, no sound. soul's march.
Alright, I hope we got all our rock energy in us right now, because yeah, we're gonna need it. About to get fucking mad as shit for no reason. Not without reason, but I don't have to do this. This is totally all a choice. I am choosing to get this fucking mad. I feel like if I didn't get upset about it, it would be indicative of a failure on my part to do my job correctly. What's my job here? My job here on this earth is to carve out the best path. Period. Whatever that means here. I think in this case it really more has to do with developing. To, like, build software. Like, make good shit, right? And we're, like, attempting to optimize for multiple things. We're attempting to optimize for quality of software, as in verifiable correctness of the actual code that we're writing, while also optimizing for developer experience. Developer experience is largely, I think, for universally most people using a piece of software, they don't give a fuck about how it's built more often than not. They care about whether or not it's actually good to use. Like, do you want to keep using it? Like, oftentimes the pieces of software that we take for granted the most are the ones that we use on a day-to-day basis. And frequently developers ourselves find ourselves re-examining those pieces of software in order to figure out what is or is not, like, the best way to do something. So before I continue, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Dark Mage, otherwise known as Mike Bell. My credentials are right here. This is actually a degree. For those of you who don't have a or a computer science degree, this is what one looks like. And I've got one. I didn't steal it or anything like that. My dad paid for me to go to school. You know, he put down money when I was a kid. He was pretty much like, you do whatever you want. I'm like, okay. I want to figure out how video games work. And that means computer science. So we went that way. And as it turns out, you could use computer science for a lot more things than just making video games. I didn't know that at the time, nor did I really care. To a lesser degree, I still almost don't. But, like, the point being, like, the world is huge. We don't know what we don't know until we get there. Those are the unknown unknowns, right? Like, eventually, over time, you start to get this sense of, like, how big the fucking sphere is. It's huge. It's a million ways to do everything. More than a million. Countless ways to do everything. There's new ways of doing things coming out all the time. By the time you even learn about a way of doing something, like, it might have been out for, like, a decade. You know, like, I don't know when C++ came out, but I was like 11 when I got my first book on how to learn C++ in, 20 months or something like that, or 28 days or whatever the fuck. And I like to say, oh, here I am 28 years later. I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing. That said, it's not like I've built any crazy pieces of software or shipped a ton of things or anything like that, but I've fucking been coding for this long, and I've done a bunch of random shit all along the way, and it's not like in any one direction or another. It's kind of like a general taste of, like, the whole sphere. You know what I mean? Some people don't ever have the blessing or luxury to have explored as much of the space as I have. Some people end up, like, working with one software stack their whole lives, and they never venture outside of that. They never get a chance to see what life truly has to offer in a lot of ways. And I like to be better than that, I like to know what works for me and what doesn't work for me. I don't like to conform to, like, other ways of doing things unless it really fits with my own way of thinking and my own way of doing things. And sometimes the distance between point A and point B is close enough that with the correct configuration, with the correct .rc file, the default experience given that configuration can be quite good. This is how I came to end up using Vim. In college, the guy who signed that diploma, in fact, was really adamant about me using Vim out of the gate. Not just me, but, like, our whole class. We had like 200 plus people. And dude was like, y'all really need to learn how to use Vim because you don't understand how important it is to have your hands on the home row. And by minimizing the amount of distance that your fingers have to move between one key and another allows you to actually think faster. And while I understood that fundamentally, I mean, you're able to tell me that, and it's just like, okay, I get it. The problem was he didn't really understand my physical situation here. Is that my right hand, I don't have manual control over each of the fingers because, for one, they're fused at the knuckles, right? So I can't actually, like, uncurl them or whatever. Like, I can't straighten them out. They're just like, this is as far as it goes. I'm lucky that I have as much utility with my thumb as I do the fingers on this hand, because this is the guy I actually type with. When I'm actually typing, imagine, like, taking your thumb and then twisting it out and then using that as your index finger. That's basically my right hand situation. I can grab things and stuff, like I could grab this. This is a statue from the movie Hellboy, the comic book series. I got it out of a loot crate years ago, and then it broke. It, like, got broken, and I actually super glued it back together. And I've always wanted to put like paint, like gold paint, like, you know, Japanese gold paint fixture style over those cracks in order to like give it more of a stylized look. But so that's my situation when it comes to typing. So my teacher didn't know that, but when it came time for me to actually like pick up Xcode, because I was thrust into the position of being an iOS developer, I was like, Lord save me, get me out of here, take me away from this awful place. And you know where it got me? They got me on a dude's page, Destroy All Software. And Destroy All Software had a sick vimrc setup. His Vim looked fucking amazing. And in reviewing his Vim RC, I discovered that you could remap keys in Vim. I didn't know this at the time. I don't think my professor conferred this upon me. But when I learned that, I immediately tried out something. Because with Vim, it's like either HJKL or JKL semicolon. I forget which. But one of those two is like the default movement setups, where, you know, you have your right hand over those keys and you can just like, you know, navigate all over the fucking place. So I tried out remapping those keys to SDFG. So, like, you would imagine my left hand being on ASDF, because D and F end up being up and down when they're on my index and my middle finger. So I can just do, you know, and like navigating files for me is that comfortable. If I want to page up or page down, all I do is I hit Control D on Vim, and I can just like page up and page down super easily. I should be demoing this for you like while I'm talking about it, huh? So, as an example, let's open it up in my Vim setup here, right? So like, this is some text. All right, so like D, F, Control B. Actually, I don't even, it's like 1G, G. I'm already paged up all the way, so like if I were to like do a lot of text and I needed to page up or down, I'd do Control B, and I can do Control D, and like the movement for my left hand and my right hand is like super minimal, right? So like navigating files has become almost second nature from this perspective. Over time, I've slowly integrated various other key combinations such as $ or Shift 4 to go to the end of the line, or caret, which is Control or Shift 6 to jump to the front of the line. W is jump word. E, I think, jumps to end of word. Similarly, you have B for go back a word. I think Shift B has the same effect. You know, there's all the various register combinations. Like I have used at V so often for like commenting out stuff in C or JavaScript or whatever, that it's probably my most typed macro. I also use marks. So like if you do apostrophe A, you would jump to a mark that you had set, but if you do MA, you can set that mark. So if I jump to the top of the file and I do apostrophe A, I jump back to like that previous location. So like if you have a really big memory bank, you could potentially have like lots of different marks set up for jumping to spaces between files. In practice, I generally don't need more than like one or two of those. Let me look at chat. Where the chat's at? Y'all talking to me? Yeah. So like, neovim's sick. I like neovim, and like this is basically just Vim shit that I'm showing you right now. This isn't even like the full power of neovim. There's a lot of shit that neovim offers that I don't even make use of, but I have started using a lot of this LSP stuff. I got it set up for Rust recently, and it's pretty cool. I can see a lot of extra information in the editor while I'm working, and it's pretty great. So let's talk about emacs. Dear God, why? Here we are in a new file inside of emacs in the terminal. Right away I have a big problem. Let's say I want to type some text. Let's say I want to quit the program. I had to fucking hit the LLM up for info on how to fucking quit the program. Let's open up an LLM in this terminal over here. Here, let me move my camera so y'all can Okay, so Control X, Control S is our save and quit. Or Control save and then Control quit. Wait. Let's see. Quit without saving. If you want to exit without saving, Control X, Control C. It'll ask to save anyway. It says no to discard, but then what it's actually going to do is prompt me yes or no. Force quit. If emacs is frozen, Control G. Yeah, see, Control Z is what I ended up having to do the first time. Okay, so let's try it. Control X, Control S saves it, Control X, Control C will quit. So, like, too many keystrokes right out the gate. Far too much work just to not only save, but also quit. Something interesting too, like, let's say I have some blah, blah, right? Let's say I fuck up and I have to Control Z, and then I kill %1. Now there's this garbage file that's just sitting in my fucking directory here. What's up with that? I don't want that shit in there. Let's get back in Emacs. Now over here in how do I enable evil mode? I heard good things for me as a Vim user. All right, let's check it out. Open Emacs and then run Alt M, which they list as meta X. Sorry, Alt X. Package install. Ret evil ret. Oh, return. Okay. Okay, so let's start there. Well, we'll finish reading first. Enable evil mode, reload config. You check evil mode is enabled by running the evil mode. Say evil mode disabled when you toggle it off. Okay. So wait, what do we do first? Alt X, enter evil enter. Alt X, what? Package install. Okay, that was easy enough. So now we need to add the following to your Emacs configuration file. In .emacs. Okay, so there is a .emacs file already. I guess we could just add it wherever. Okay. So now back over in the Emacs, we're gonna do Alt X eval buffer. Whoa. Alt X eval buffer. I don't know how to get rid of any of these warnings though. Alt X evil mode. If it's enabled, it'll say that when I toggle off. Wait. I can't tell if it's enabled or not. Okay, do we have evil mode yet? Okay, okay. Okay, so we've got basic, super basic Vim navigation. But it's right-handed though. Do I even still have my old Vim RC? I don't think I still even have it. I might have a copy of it on GitHub, but one of the very first things I'm going to have to do here is remap the basic like navigation. So let's see, what's that? JK. So that's L. HJKL is the mapping in emacs. So we're gonna have to remap those by essentially flipping them with S D F G. We leave A as like insert append mode because I like that. That's very easy for my left hand to hit. Sometimes I use I, but I mostly use A. Let me read the chats here. Yeah, that whole process of like setting temporary options versus having them in the config, I'm used to that from them. That's pretty straightforward. So the next step for me here, personally, package delivery. It's my dog's food. Okay, so in the .emacs file, after enable evil mode, we'll slap all that stuff down. Okay. And what was the... Whoa. So is eval buffer supposed to reload shit? Okay, so it did not manage to successfully reload .emacs by calling eval buffer. So I'm gonna save, quit, I'm sorry, but just Control X is a fucking god awful starting keybind. Jesus Christ. Even intuitively, I would imagine like Control C, Control X makes way more sense than Control X, Control C. That shit is actually fucking ass backwards. Alright. Left-hand mode, let's go. Wait, what? Oh, okay, okay. I think I actually have it flip-flopped. Oh, yeah. Actually, F needs to be down. So, like, I actually mirror it rather than, like, just do a pure flip. So... So, actually... We actually want F to be next line, D to be previous line. F to be next line, G to be previous line. Okay, okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. W is kind of behaving oddly. Actually, no, that's technically... Yeah, okay, that's correct. That's... This is starting to feel normal-ish. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We have the basics. If I can get to this point, then I could potentially get anywhere. That's how I feel about it. This is the same exact fucking thing that I went through with goddamn Vim in the beginning. So when I discovered that, I could do this remap, it's like, oh my god, fucking amazing. The possibilities are limitless. Because I was using Xcode at the time, and I realized, oh fuck, I hate this. I hate IDEs. I like the terminal. I don't like IDEs. So when I had to use Xcode, because building on the command line for iOS is like, at the time, it was already difficult. I'm sure it's even more difficult now. I think I've seen people have setups, but anyway. When I had to use Xcode, I immediately found Xvim, and I began rocking that shit everywhere. I even used it in the corporate context. The difference between mousing around code and using your keyboard to navigate it. Oh man. It's like that one dude who turned inmates. Don't Google that. Don't YouTube that if you don't already know what it is, because that shit'll scar your ass for life. Jesus. Just like the mouse did. There's so much that I would do to like get rid of mouse usage. So this is the beginning of emacs, right? Like we've got it to a point where I can... Fine, save it. I don't give a fuck. We've got it to a point where I can open it, close it, and it has my shit able to like move around the way that I'm used to. There's so much more that I don't know where to even begin with working with something like Emacs, or to what context I would want to do something in it. But the way that people talk about it who like it are that they do everything inside of Emacs because it's got that kind of capability. In a similar way with neovim, one of the biggest upgrades I've had in the last couple years of using it is having a whole ass buffer that can run terminal commands, and I can just flip over to it. I can even have multiple terminals all up in one neovim session, and I can flip between them. I can do different shit. For some god awful reason, you can actually run neovim inside of neovim. So shit gets kind of bananas at a certain point. There is a realistic, like normal expected usage, and I do pretty well with the utilities that I do use on a regular basis. One of the biggest upgrades to my neovim was getting CLangD going. So like if I were to go into my config, my neovim init, Got a bunch of shit in here. A lot of this was copied over from Kickstart, which is a great starting template. I kind of like tricked this out towards my own usage, but there's a lot that I retained from it. In particular, with lazy installing other plugins is very easy. The biggest upgrade that I can think of in this setup is the Mason LSP tooling, which allows you to plug in arbitrary other LSPs for various languages. So as an example, we've got Rust Analyzer for Rust. We've got Lua JIT for Lua. And we've got CLangD for C++ and C. And we also have Pyrite for Python. So a lot of what that does is automatically formats my C++ code, my Lua code, my Python code, and now my Rust code whenever I save it. I think I also have a formatter for Go. I should set up a Rust one. The theming on neovim is also really fucking sick. Tokyo Night is really closest to like what I'm using, and I think it's like in connection or combination with my ZSH theming. You know, this is pretty much what I like my terminals to look like. You know, almost black background, not quite pure black, but close. Lots of gray, you know, lots of like yellow and orange kind of warm colors in conjunction with a little bit of cool colors. Also, I got Copilot up in here, so, you know, Emacs better have that Copilot set up. That said, you know, I do have the ability to run local LLMs if I really wanted to. So if there's some sort of plugin and stuff like that. That said, often at times when I'm recording coding like this, I don't, because I'm using my GPU for OBS right now. So there is that caveat. But this is my whole thing. It's really not that bad. It's kind of funny because, like, if you ever tried like vanilla neovim versus like you know, a really configured setup like this, it is a very dramatically different experience. And even then, like vanilla Vim versus like my Vim RC setup, you know, like I spent a lot of time tricking stuff out over time, and as a result, like my expected usage for when I'm like using Vim or neovim is that I can just rsync my config file or GitHub curl it or whatever onto a new box and immediately begin working in the same experience across any number of machines that I'm working on. So that's a really important like thing for me, because I've reduced the amount of work to like replicate the experience to just a single command, which is great because all this kind of stuff takes time to figure out. Like when I have configuration problems, it's not fun. It's not fun for anyone. There is always that pain point of configuring your new environment. And you have to allow yourself time to do that, and you have to have the bandwidth and the desire to do it to begin with. And if you have the desire to do it, it's because you're aiming to like solve some greater problem that you're facing, right? Like in my case, in the very beginning, it was like I did not want to use vanilla Xcode. And it was kind of like not even something that I was intending to solve so much as an accident by just like paying attention to Hacker News and eventually discovering this new thing where it was like, oh shit, my system's upgraded. What the fuck? So there is this kind of like, there is a level of investment, of time investment, of energy investment, where even if I were to spend, that much more time, and I'll probably end up having, because off the top, I don't know what the fuck I would even begin to do in emacs land, let alone Lisp, right? Like, so now we got some SBCL up here, but I don't even know what the fuck to do with this thing, right? Like, unbounded variable. The variable world is unbound. Here, let's just start printing 1. Okay, we got 11. Why did it print 11? I told it to print 1. Now it printed 22. Are you fucking kidding me? How about let's print 2 again? Okay, why is it doubling up on things? This is kind of weird. I don't understand what the fuck is going on here. It's been a long time since I fucked with SBCL. I don't remember anything about this fucking thing. That's a lot. It's a lot to take in here. So they've got a help with tutorial, but there's going to be a couple difference. There is an evil tutor. So this would like go into the configuration file. Oh shit. There was an extra dash in there. Or no? Okay, so it couldn't find Evil Tutor though. No match. And then it just tried to dash when I did an empty string there. That's weird. Okay. So Evil Tutor didn't exist. Let's say so. Control X B. God damn, that's an awful keybind. So the CERN essential emacs concepts. So Control X B to switch buffer. We can do window splits. Let's try a window split. Why not? Wait. Control X2. Nice. So Control XB. How do I know which buffer to switch to? Oh, there we are. Okay. But how do I switch windows? I see that does another one. See, that closed the whole thing. See, I'm very confused. Oh, sick. Okay, let's try window navigation. Okay, control, all right. W up and down are undefined. Control, or WF is undefined as well. But it does recognize and respect the right hand one. So kind of funny using Vim to edit an emacs config. All right, let's try it. Okay, nice. Nice. What about next? Can we do next window instead? Okay, so we can just do like a generic other window. I like that. Okay, window cycling, so we could do like I like that. Okay, that's not terrible. Winner undo. What do y'all think of this shit so far? Yeah, it's the evil mode, Andre. No, Dulce, if you weren't paying attention earlier, I attempted to evaluate the buffer after saving the new.emacs file, and it did not load the key bindings, so I had to close it. You say that I don't have to close it, and yet I had to. Explain that one, smart guy. Yeah, it's kind of brutal right now, honestly. It's just like so much work. You say that's incorrect, and yet it is. Maybe it's very selective about when it chooses to want to respect that rule. But fact of the matter is, oh, the implication was that I was opening the configuration in the same emacs session as the one that I had open. I see. So it evaluates the contents of the buffer So if you had the configuration file open in a buffer, then it would run that code essentially, is how I'm reading that. But you can't say that I wasn't operating off of the correct assumptions, because I have a command to do this in Vim. But the chances of me ever needing to actually do this in practice are super low. So you would write a function for it and then map it to a key binding. That sounds kind of like pretty straightforward, honestly. That's not terrible. But it is not, without the assumption that, there are certain... Can't say that I didn't have the correct assumptions out the gate. So, if I wanted to open the config file in a buffer over here, actually better yet, how do I close a buffer, right? Control X B? No. See, Control X C saved and closed everything. Even though I've only got, I've got the same file over in, all three locations. And actually changing it in all three ends up editing all three. So my next question would be, I have some split windows. How do I close one of them? All right, Control WC. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so in Jesus. Okay, so we would do this. Okay, so if we go to the bottom, paste. No, I want to save. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. I attempted to save everything, which is fine, but ultimately really only want it to handle the current buffer. But so now I think I do Alt X eval buffer. Key sequence CAA starts with non-prefix key CA. Okay, so emacs shit did not like CA. Key sequence starts with non-prefix key. Oh, so it wants me to use CCA. Okay. Oh. Okay, so that's saved. And then now we do a val buffer. Okay. Let's see if it works. Wrong type argument, command P. Okay, what's that mean? There we go. Let's try this. Oh, interesting. So because the config actually needs I'm missing stuff now, right? So like for instance, DD should delete a line, and that needs to be remapped to KK. So XS and then eval buffer. Okay, so now if I do, no, sorry, CA. Okay, this will cycle every buffer that you have, which is a good start. They also said we could do meta A, but let's try it. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. still, there is a lot that has to be done here before this can ever have the hope of being something really viable for me to use for a long term. I can't say this is the most joyous experience right now, but I'm figuring shit out. But it is a long road between point A and point B sometimes. So what was that thing I was just saying I couldn't do? Oh, right. Oh, sweet. I could actually do a Control C, Control S for save. Okay, that does not delete a line. There we go, okay. That's actually not deleting a line. That's actually deleting, like, up to the end of the line. So, like, if I... Yeah, see, that's not quite what I want. Wait. So delete whole, whoop, delete the whole line. Okay, let's try it. There we go. There we go. Okay. I gotta say, this is fucking terrible. Oh my Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking... I don't even know what I pressed. I didn't want to go here. I didn't want to go here. I didn't want to go here. How do I get out of here? Oh my god, fuck emacs. Holy shit. This is some fucking bullshit, man. Alright. Yes. No more typing yes like a goddamn secretary. I like that. Looks like my baby just woke up too. Both my babies. Let's make this a good checkpoint. Then I can smoke, get them some snacks, maybe make myself a snack. I didn't want to do that. There we go. Oh, right. All right, let's test it out. No, I didn't want it. Why? But I have I wanted unmodified buffers. I said, why? There we are. Okay, that worked. We're getting somewhere. All right, y'all. I'll be right back.
i kaleka. Zodoreże lapę, zodile do nocomata. Hota i jaj, a idia. Kapci jak te młodali.
Boots on the ground, I'm setting up shop. In the shadows where the action won't stop. Silent and steady, got my sights on the prey. One hit, one kill, that's my tactical play. Can't be queen in the game, can't deny. Got my sniper and I'm aiming high. Enemies rage while I bask in the glow. Hiding in the dark, I'm the star of the show. Map knowledge sharp, I'm a beast unseen. In the bunker where the kills are clean. Patience pays off, I'm here to stay. Stacking up the score while others decay. Can't be queen in the game, can't deny. Got my sniper and I'm aiming high. Enemies rage while I bask in the glow. Hiding in the dark, I'm the star of the show. They think they got me, but I'm playing smart. Laying low and silent, that's my art. Every corner's mine, I'm the camping champ. Watch your step or you'll catch my step. Camping queen in the game, can't deny. Got my sniper and I'm aiming high. Enemies rage while I bask in the glow. Hiding in the dark, I'm the star of the show. You're the queen in the game, can't deny. Got my sniper and I'm aiming high. Enemies rage while I bask in the glow. Hiding in the dark, I'm the star of the show.
I need my motherfucking coffee. Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. Till I got my coffee, I'm the motherfucking toppy. I need my motherfucking coffee. Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. As long as I got my coffee, I am the motherfucking toppy. I need my motherfucking coffee. Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. As long as I got my coffee, I am the motherfucking toppy. I need my motherfucking coffee. Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. As long as I got my coffee, I am the motherfucking toppy. motherfucking coffee. Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. As long as I got my coffee, I am the motherfucking zombie. I need my motherfucking coffee. Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. As long as I got my coffee, I am the motherfucking zombie. I need my motherfucking zombie. I need my motherfucking coffee. 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 Ain't not a person in the world who can stop me. The corporate world is the devil, I am godly. As long as I got my coffee, I'm the motherfucking zombie.
You are now listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. You are now listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. You are now listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. You are now listening to Evil Dojo Dark Mage in the house with the sick flow. Spawn, gun, blood, body is the ground. Frog, knife, lorry, no mercy, no sound.
Alright. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be back for. My brain is totally fucking fried already off of this fucking bullshit, man. Like, way too much. Like learning Rust is even easier than this shit. There is a level of intuition with regards to virtually every single little action that I would previously do in Vim. At this point, you know, on the back of my hand, where it feels like mentally putting the brakes on a very fast moving car. And like all of that energy just to shift in one different direction, and then having to do that repeatedly across, you know, it's like there's a big path to just carving out a little space where I can feel comfortable, and we're not there yet. Hell no. And I don't know how much longer I'm gonna continue to dick around with emacs, because I'd rather spend the time doing virtually anything else. Like there's so many different things that I want to build and that I want to play with. It's like no offense to Emacs users, but like this is really last on the agenda with regards to, like, for me anyway, actually useful things that I could be doing with my time. At this point in life, if it were eons ago, at the very beginning of my career, maybe there's a universe where young Dark Mage picked up Emacs instead of Vim, and he went down that pathway. But especially mentally, because it's like if I want to like bounce back to NVim, and then I end up like having to like relearn all of these different things, so effectively I'd be just like seeking to replicate a lot of my own neovim experience inside of Emacs. Like, I'd much rather do that than spend the time like picking up the Emacs way of doing something. Not to mention just some of the default key bindings are so fucking awful. Like, and a new user to this, of course, like, you know, even if you were a new user to Vim, there's a learning curve where you have to learn and pick up how to do things and stuff like that. It's very different when you've already picked up a way of doing things. And I can understand now why a lot of people have avoided picking up Vim at this point, because it's honestly, if these are the kinds of pains that those people feel attempting to pick up Vim, then I totally understand. I totally see where they're coming from. Like, it is a big investment. And, you know, with Vim, it was like, there was a light bulb moment years after I was first introduced to it, where things kind of like, oh, this is why I should do this. And I'm certain that there's a load of Emacs users who feel the same way about Vim users. Like, oh, they'll eventually figure it out. But there's a lot that Emacs offers that I just straight don't care about, have no real use for. It's just like neat more than anything, but like really kind of like unimpressive in terms of actual like utilitarian value, such as like, who the fuck gives a shit about like displaying images on a terminal, you know, or inside of your Emacs? Like, I think Terry Davis implemented something into Temple OS's Holy C interpreter. Like, you can do like inline images as objects and pass them around to functions and stuff like that. It's a little bit wild. I just made a sandwich. My animals just had snacks, and I'm ready to put the pause on this thing. About to yell at my cat again too. Better not knock nothing down again. While I was away for there a minute, that's one of the reasons I'm going to, is because he knocked over a salt shaker and I had to sweep up after him. So I'm going to spend some time with my animals, rest, recharge, spend a few hours before my student working on something else. This was kind of a neat experiment. This is because I want to do like segments like this where I dig into like using some piece of software that I've avoided for a long time and just kind of like break down my own dislike and my own personal like stream of consciousness type experience attempting to use it. Having been using computers for a long time in general doesn't mean that you magically know every other thing and that there's like not more than one right way of doing something, but everyone's got individual preferences on how they do things. Can't necessarily fault people if they don't like one way or another. So at the end of the day, it's also kind of just good to try and step out of your own box and figure out like what else out there is there and why don't you like something. Because it's one thing to like feel that gut instinct where it's like, this is not the way. It's another to actually be able to articulate like what those problems actually are. And then there's always workarounds, but do we always want workarounds? You know, do we want more or less configuration? Like, are we trying to create more or less friction when with regards to like user experience? Like as an example of this, during the discussions with this chatter about emacs, there was this unspoken assumption where they thought that I would just totally be cool running emacs in the GUI. And it's like, no. If I have to default to GUI, it's not going to work. I've spent this much time crafting an environment where I can operate and do everything inside of the terminal. And that's just like how I like doing things. I usually have a handful of emacs sessions spun up like this, and I can just attach and detach them at will. I can SSH into this box from my laptop, control things from over there, and I don't really have to like rearrange or reorganize or change how I'm doing anything. Whereas in the universe where I use Emacs, I have a completely different way of doing every single little thing that I already do on the computer. And that's a huge fucking mindfuck and a huge mental burden. It's far too much work than is worth the reward for me right now. I totally get like, you know, the beauty of a setup that fits into some sort of like linguistic, like masturbatory type perfection where it's just like the perfect setup and everything just works and all this other stuff that everybody else on the planet has ever said about their own preferred setup. But at the end of the day, what works for one person doesn't work for another. And you shouldn't necessarily fight your instincts all the time. It's one thing to like improve yourself. It's one thing to do self-improvement, to like upgrade and update your way of doing things. It's also another to overhaul them completely, which I've done more than once. I've gone through this process a number of different times over the years. And it's like preferred Linux distributions. People will get into fights about this kind of stuff as well. The editor war is just one of many different wars that have existed since time immemorial. Immemorial, is that a word? Time immemorial. Since the beginning of time. And it's fun. You know, it's the capitalistic spirit to improve through competition by, you know, the the warriors of the world coming together in order to figure out what is, or who is the strongest, who is the best fighter, who has the most perfect style. This is really just an extension of that whole kind of thing. So, take it with a grain of salt, because I had a bunch of salt on my floor just a few minutes ago. Ain't that right, Grace? You want me to tell everyone bye so I can come hang out with you? I think that's a yes. I'm pretty sure she wants a bite of my sandwich too, so. Shoutouts to Dulce for the inspiration for this stream. I actually plan on a couple more like this. I have plans to do a similar thing for both Unity as well as Visual Studio Code. I fucking hate both of them so goddamn much. But as you can see, I would much rather do emacs first than Unity or VS Code. So if that says anything about where emacs falls into my list, it's above Visual Studio Code and Unity at least. It's got that going for it. For all the hating that I've done on emacs, I wanted to leave on a positive note. At least it's not Unity. At least it's not Visual Studio Code. That's how I feel about it. That's how we're leaving it off. So, until next time, everyone. This has been the Dark Mage. And, fuck Emacs. But at least it ain't VS Code. Peace.